Hi, everybody. I'm Yasmina of Just Say Yeah, and I'm here to talk about making a cake. Okay, so if you want to bake a cake, depending on what type of cake, you look inside that recipe book and you see what it should look like. It tells you how much ingredients and what type of ingredients to put in it, the measurements. Well, that's what the Word of God is for us. Open that book and it'll tell you exactly who you were called to be, how you're supposed to walk and talk, and how you're supposed to think. If you follow that recipe, you will be the picture that you see, the picture that God has for you. Now listen, I know that if I don't follow the ingredients and I'm trying to make something and I divert off that recipe, it doesn't come out like the picture shows in the recipe book. Well, neither will you. Make sure you follow God's plan for your life. And remember to just say yes. Hi, everybody. I am Yasmina of Just Say Yeah, and I'm here to just talk about what it means to love me, love life, live healthy. And talk about what it means to be healthy in your spirit, your soul, and your body, and to remind you that it is God's will for your life. 3 John 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospers. So what that tells me is that this is God's will for our life. And we know that we as a nation right now, we're just going through so many things that are not necessarily lining up with a healthy life. So we need to make sure we're doing our part to be healthy in it. Today, I have two wonderful, beautiful, smart women here with me today. I have LaNetta Whittle of A Whittle of Daycare. I have her on the screen here. And I also have Shawuana of Precision Line Dance. And there, she's also a mental health specialist for Fresno County, and we're going to talk about just some topics. We're going to go ahead. I have my phone here today, so bear with me. We're going to talk about standing up for yourself, following your dreams, speaking up, standing tall, and the power of saying no. And of course, it's funny because I always say, just say yeah, but let me tell you, you got to say no before you can say yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring them in, let them go ahead and just introduce themselves for today. And then we're going to get this going because we have a lot of heavy topics to talk about today.
We do.
Yes, we do. LaNetta Whittle, what do you have to say? How can we start this?
So I'm just number one excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me again onto your show, and I just want to help somebody, as many people as I can. I'm an open book. I'll be as truthful and honest as I should be, and go from there.
I love it. I thank you for coming on here today.
Yeah.
And Shawuana Himes,
Yes.
tell us.
As always, it's such a pleasure to be, with you on this show as we come together and talk about these different topics. So, as always, such a pleasure, and I always feel so honored. Just to be able to share some insight on different topics to help people, like Netta said, it's just we want to be able to help others. And so, I just feel grateful to be able to provide some of those tips and, resources for others so that way they can, live healthy lives and get some help in their lives during these hard times.
Well, I thank you as well for joining us today, joining
You're
me
welcome.
today on this show.
Yes.
And One of the things that I'd like to do, believe it or not, we all may share the same skin color. Well, not quite. She's a light bright, but but we are all very different.
We are.
We are
Absolutely.
all different women. We all have the same heartbeat, same blood flow, but we're so very different. And I wanted that. I want diversity. I want our different way we perceive
Diversity
things.
is
And
good.
just like that clip said in the beginning about baking a cake, when you want to bake a red velvet cake, I'm pretty sure you don't put cinnamon in it because that's not the right ingredient. You have to put the right ingredients for whatever you're trying to bake. If
on.
you're making a cornbread. If you're
Yeah.
making cornbread, you're not putting chocolate in it because you're not
Right.
making a chocolate cake. So
Exactly.
we, I feel, are the right ingredients because we just want to come with
Yes.
things to just share for you during these hurting times. And so first, let's start with the question of, or the topic of, not really a question, but more of a topic of standing up for yourself. So, LaNetta, what does
Yes.
that mean to you to stand up for yourself and to stand up for what you believe in?
For me, that means being comfortable within who you are.
Hmm.
So if someone is telling me that I can't, and of course you find yourself echoing what they're telling you. I guess I can't. I guess I can't do this. I guess I can't do that. And then you're repeating what they're saying, but you haven't even given your own self a chance to try it. So standing up for yourself, meaning being bold, being okay with results, and living in your truth.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Living in your truth. Shawuana, what about you? What is that standing up for yourself and living in your truth? What does that mean for you?
It means so much. I mean, just being, like Netta said, being bold, that's really key, and just making sure that you're being heard and not being afraid. You cannot walk in fear. If you're going to stand up for yourself, you're telling yourself, listen, I have a voice. I am somebody and I have something to say. And so it's just really just being strong and courageous, honestly, and whatever that may be. But standing up for yourself is very necessary and something I feel like sometimes a lot of us don't even do.
So I'm just going to put this out. This goes to either one of you. But what do you do if you stand up and who you were created to be and someone tells you that's not who you are or you shouldn't do that? What are your thoughts on that, on hearing a comment like that?
You know what? I had an incident when somebody had told me that was in a high position, said, you're the type of person that don't finish, that stop. You don't complete. He doesn't even understand how I thank God for him every single day.
Come on.
Because that put a fire under my butt, honey. You can't tell me that I can't do what God sent me or positioned me to do. And it pushed me. I graduated with 3 degrees. I have my business at 6 figures. I'm married for 19 years. My 3 children are blessed and highly favored and living their truth and their dreams, accomplishing every single thing that's out here. Despite of what's going on, the world's going to tell you no. The world's going to tell you to stop. But you push through, shut the noise, push through. So it was a fuel to me, and I thank him.
Ooh, the noise. Okay, Shawuana, you being a mental health specialist, can you tell us how can we shut the noise? Sometimes it's just, especially now in the times that we're in with all the horrible and horrific things that are happening. And through this, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to give you some ways that you can support this time and support Black people. I'm just going to say you need to support Black people because we are all God's children. And so this fight isn't just our fight, it's our fight. But now I just want to know, what are some things that you can do to shut out some of that noise?
Yeah, for one, it's just really some mindfulness, just being present in the moment to really say, hey, this is what's going on right now, to really take a toll of that. This is reality, right?
Yeah.
So just being mindful of what is going on, and for you yourself to eliminate any type of stress or anxiety, because a lot of times we get so fearful of things and our stress level and our anxiety rises and we respond to that and it may not be in the right way.
Right.
So just taking some time to silence yourself and say, you know what is it that I need to do? Let me find out. Let me get the right resources. Let me find out exactly the actions that I can do and move forward in that, not responding out of emotion, because sometimes that may not be the right thing to do. But just taking in, we tell our clients all the time to really take a moment and settle themselves. We want to do, we use different type of therapy to help our clients to be able to deal with those stressful situations.
Absolutely.
And us in everyday life, we need to do the same thing. So that way we're taking care and managing whatever symptom we may be going through at that time.
Well, what both of you have said is absolutely key, and those are things that people need to understand, that those are important steps when you're trying to live a life of health and wellness. Those are important steps when you're trying to learn how to, I always talk about, love me, love life, live healthy. And what I mean is that's people saying, love me, love life, live healthy. That's what we all should be saying, because we were created to live a life more abundantly. And so I know you said 3 degrees you just finished. So, and I know this one over here is going back. She will be getting her doctorate. And I'm surrounded by education. And I want to stress the power of education, the power of following your dreams. Can you, Shawuana, tell us about what that means to you, about following your dreams and how you can encourage someone else to do so?
Let me tell y'all. Hold on. Where do I even start with that? Such a good question. I'm going to tell you, a teenage mom. So where it started was statistically, you're not even supposed to graduate high school. But baby, let me tell you, We sure did. Graduated high school. Not only that, I actually took some college classes at the same time. So came out with 2 associate's degrees, pushed forward as a mom, young mom at that, to get my bachelor's. And not only that, I'm going back now. I know you said my doctor. I'm going back now to pursue my master's to start that. I'll be starting that here in another few weeks. But not only that, I'm going to get my doctorate because that's
There
something
it
that I
is.
said I was going to do when I was back in middle school. So those goals, that's something that I'm pushing my way forth because I know this is something that I must do. I need to do. So the drive behind it is so important. You can't tell me nothing. That's when you talk about standing up for yourself. Oh, I'm going to do it. So I don't care what the statistics say. I don't care what society says. As a young black teenage mama, this mama going to make it. And that's why you
Yes.
push yourself. So when I say talk about moving forward and those dreams and those goals, oh, baby, you got to make it happen. That's what we do. So
We have to make it
Yes.
happen. And I know, LaNetta, you just graduated.
Yes.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And you are in pursuit. You too are going after your dreams. And
Yes.
what can you tell someone who right now feels that they want to go forward, they're not sure, there's a lot of noise and chatter around them, like we
Yes.
said, and like the story you just shared. What would you tell them? How would you tell them? What would be the first 3 steps you would tell them to do?
The first 3 steps I would tell them to do is find a quiet place. Find a quiet place.
I love
The
it.
second step I would tell them to do is to write down their goals,
Well,
Yes.
what they would like to see in. There's a lot of programs that's in schools and colleges, universities. That's 18 months. I would definitely tell them to write down an 18-month goal.
I love it.
yes.
And then the third thing I would tell them to do is execute it. Because again,
There you go.
if you sit there and you're trying to wait for the perfect time,
That's right.
you're gonna be gone.
That's right.
Family
That's
will
right.
be burying you.
That's
So
right.
you have to do those 3 steps. Execute.
Very important. And
Yes.
again, I want to reiterate those steps. Quiet place.
Yes.
We really, right now, there's so much noise around us. You turn on the news, we go
That's a lot.
outside, go to the store, we go look on social media, there's so much noise. Noise that needs to be heard. But
Yes.
there's so much noise. And so we have to understand that it's important that we keep our perception right about
Absolutely.
the situations that are at hand. That we,
Absolutely.
and so being in that quiet place allows you to hear your voice
Yes.
and God's voice.
That's right.
And
Amen.
to
Very
shut
important.
out everything else and make
Very
sure that
important.
it lines up with what? The Word.
Word of
That's
God.
so important because God is always talking.
Absolutely.
Small, still voice, He talks all the time. We just need to be in the quiet place that LaNetta said to hear Him. Writing that vision and making it plain, that's another thing. This
Come
woman
on.
right here, I tell you,
Write
she
it.
knows her word because the Bible tells us in Habakkuk, there it is, to write the vision, make it plain.
That's
so
it.
that way, when you have these times of trouble and times of lull movements, you can look at that vision and you can run with it. Very
Yes.
important, and I'm glad you made that point. Especially, I love how you put the quiet place, then write the vision.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You notice that step? It's
Yes.
important because if you start writing that vision before you've had time to quiet down, who knows what you'll write?
That's right. Come on.
Who
Yeah.
knows? And execute.
Wasting time.
Execute.
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 What does
That's
that word
key.
mean to you, Shawuana? Execute.
You're going to make it happen. It's action. You talk about that in your book, even,
Well.
action. And so when you take that step, you're just saying, oh, it's time. It's go time. That's
Go
the pretty
time.
execution. It's go time. We're going to make it happen. So
Movement in every area is key. Movement in your spirit, movement in your mind, your emotions, your will, what you will
Yes.
and will not do, how you feel about things, and what you say about it. That is so important.
Yes, it
Movement,
is.
movement, and then of course, actual movement.
Yes,
So
you
have to execute. It's people around. In the church world. You hear, I'm going to wait and see what the Lord has to say. I'm going to pray and wait on the Lord. Now, I'm not talking about anybody because we do need to wait and see what the Lord tells us to do.
Yes, yes.
That is number one. But we have to understand that God uses us. So once He's told you, execute. You've got to move.
What did it
There's
say?
no way.
faith without works is
Dead. You've
So
got
work.
to.
So you
Let
gotta-
me
yes.
tell you. I tell you what. I've realized
Tell
that
you what.
my the fact that I have that I'm moving in the direction,
Yes.
executing,
Yes.
as LaNetta said,
Yes.
that shows I have faith What you think?
That I agree.
Amen. Do I get an
I
amen?
agree with that. You got it. Amen on that.
Amen.
Always
That's
say,
true.
always say it's like someone who's sitting on the couch saying, "I want to lose weight."
Well,
Okay, when we gonna get up? You have to get off that couch
Right.
and work those pounds.
Right.
You know.
well,
That's
there it
true.
is. And that is,
Drop it.
you know, I like that example.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, we have to
Movement.
move in the direction of our
Yes.
sight, and we have to put our sight on the right target.
Absolutely.
And we have to
That's good.
speak and frame the world as we
Come on.
walk. But it's in our walking and doing that God will bless. So we definitely need to
Bless them.
quiet ourselves and hear Him. Well, we are going to go ahead and take a little break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about, and I think I'll have LaNetta bring this in on the next one. It's going to be about speaking up.
Oh.
Because I have a feeling she can tell us what it means to speak
Yes.
up. We'll be right back.
I want every white person in this room who would be happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
Carolco, the Valley's leader for no-cost energy upgrades. Call Carolco at 559-396-3939 and visit carolco.net. Call Valley Cryosport today to learn how you can decrease muscle soreness, speed up your body's recovery time, and improve your immune system. And Valley Cryoskin uses science that works with your body's natural systems, killing fat cells without damaging surrounding tissue, and increasing oxygen supply that aids in collagen production, resulting in slimmer, toned bodies and the elimination of fine lines and wrinkles. Visit valleycryosport.com today or call 559-500-3304.
Clovis Community College may be free for you to attend. Call 325-5239 or visit cloviscollege.edu for details. We offer general education classes for transfer and short-term training programs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yasmina of Just Say Yeah, and I'm here just talking about what it means to love me, love life, and live healthy and do it the way that God intended it, about being healthy in your spirit, your soul, and your body. And I want to remind everybody, this book here, you can go ahead and get her on Amazon now. You go on and it's 40 days to a new you. I actually have a program as well. I have a 40-day program, Just Say Yeah program, and a Love Me, Love Life, Live Healthy 90-day program. And they are ways to get you on track and specialized programs that are written and detailed just for you. So
Yes.
definitely contact me so we can get you started. But here today, just in case you're just tuning in, I'm here with Shawuana of Precision Line Dance, and I have here with me LaNetta Willow of a Little Love Daycare.
Little Love
Look at that.
Daycare,
God,
yes.
I love that.
Gotta
See?
love it.
Man. And these beautiful women are here today. We're bringing diversity and just in outlook and perception on some subjects and topics, and we right now want to get right into this, and we're going to first I want to talk about the clip that was played just before the ending of the last segment. Jane Elliott. And wonderful, through the years, Jane Elliott has been a woman who has put out different studies as it relates to race and going in different audiences and primarily white audiences to show and talk about how people really feel and try to put people, give that feeling of, because I don't know how she feels. I don't know how LaNetta feels. And I definitely don't know how a woman, a non-black woman feels. So we need to know, and we need to be educated and understand that we all have a voice, we all have opinions, we all have thoughts, and they all need to be respected, but we need to learn about each other. And so I just wanted to share that clip with you, just to give you, as I call them, food for thought. Now, LaNetta,
Yes.
the next thing we're going to talk about and address is the topic of speaking up. Tell me. When you hear the word speaking up, what are your thoughts?
When I hear the word speaking up, I hear security, like just being secure of who you are.
Oh, yeah.
I saw my mom, she raised 4 of us, and my mom, she had to be the mother and the father role, right? And I remember her just having to come to our defense and speaking up for us. And they were like, well, you don't know if your kids, didn't put the dirt in the sink and now the sink is clogged.
Right.
My mom would say, oh, yes, I do. And I know my children. And she would give us this look. And I knew that she wasn't playing. So it kept us on our P's and Q's as far as, okay, we know how to carry ourselves even if mom wasn't here.
Right.
So getting those examples over time, it really made me like find my grounding and find who I am and knowing that it's okay. Everyone won't agree with you. You will have those disagreements, you will have those debates, but respectfully, it should be lined up with, that's your opinion. I'm not angry. I want to fight you. This is my opinion.
Right.
You're not angry. You want to say nasty words to me.
Right.
So that's what it means.
Ooh, I like that. Me. That's speaking up, truly respecting one another, agreeing, as they say, to disagree. So you mean to tell me not everybody's going to agree with me?
I always say
now
that.
I get it. Now I see what the problem's been. No. But you're right. Tell me what courage and what strength you've had to use, Shawuana, in times when you knew what you knew, you felt what you felt, but you knew you had to speak up. How did you navigate through times like that?
Oh, yeah. I just had to really, in times like that, like, dig on the inside of me. Because we each have our hearts, right? And we want to have pure hearts. So I just have to reach and say, you know what? I'm coming from a good place. God, you know my heart. So I have to dig in and pull whatever's out of me. And even though it may not come across to that individual a certain way, I know that where it's coming from and God knows. So that's what musters up the strength for me to say, you know what? I have to speak up on this. I have to say something about this. So I just really rely on God when it comes down to it. Because I know, he has my back and I know I'm coming from the right place. And I always want to check my heart first. That's the thing. Check your heart first before you come out with it. But I just have to be strong in that to say, I have a voice. God has given each of us a voice. I use that with my children, my daughters and my son. I tell them, I say, listen, you have a voice. And a closed mouth will not get fed. This is how you're feeling in this moment. So use that. Use it the right way, but use it. Don't silence yourself. But be able to draw on that strength that you have on the inside of you and say, here, I have something to say.
Absolutely. The word tells us, the word of God tells us that we're not to believe every spirit, but we're to try the spirit.
Yes, right.
So I love how you said you check yourself. First and foremost, let me make sure I'm lined up. If I'm lined up, even if you don't agree, that's not my problem.
Yes.
It's your problem.
Yes, that's good.
So I like that. And I just have to say this. You said a closed mouth don't get fed. Well, I'm looking to find a way. Because if we could get fed with a closed mouth, that'll help this diet issue. When I solve that problem, now that'll be the super diet. But
super diet, right?
I'm on that with you.
Okay.
Man, oh man.
It's true.
But yes, speaking up. For myself, speaking up, I'm gonna go ahead and share this little story.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I was a shy child. I'm talking the kind of child that would stand behind my mom's leg kind of child. You know, that's annoying, actually. Man, if one of my grandkids did it, get from behind my leg. But I literally was that child. I was a scary child. So I was scary, which is already bad. I was shy. Literally afraid of my own shadow. One of those kids that as I walk down the hall, light, turn on every light as I walk.
Yes.
And speaking up was not something that I could do. It wasn't until recently. And when I say recently, I'm 51, it's been the last 5 years that I've learned to speak up. And I know that's kind of hard because I speak now. I learned that he is a God and he gave me a voice. But I speak up now and I realize the power. That's why I think that I am so adamant. Well, of course the word tells us, but about declaring and speaking.
Amen.
Yes.
That's right.
We have such power in our
is power.
mouths. We can open our mouths and create and form our world. So now I don't have a problem speaking up. Now, do I get things right all the time? Nope, sure do not. So God gets to me and Holy Spirit corrects me. I get it right. That's the reason why you got to stay in your word to make sure it's right and tight because you're right. God's the only one that can check your heart.
Yep.
So you have to have that quiet time. You have to have that vision that you can go back and check. That way you can really make sure that you're still lining up right and tight. So speaking up is something that is dear to my heart and important to me, that I express to you out there that you have to speak up for what you believe in.
Absolutely. I have
Even
a question.
if you're not understood. Yes,
please. I have a question for you because I know you mentioned as a child of being a shy child, and it was just over the last few years that you really came out of that. What was that turning point for you?
Right.
I'll tell you that turning point. Y'all already know. I'm going to say it then since you
Share
asked.
with us.
Let me sit on back.
Help the people out.
Now, about, 5 years ago, going through my third divorce. Didn't know it was coming. Kind of was blindsided with it. And it threw me off because I thought it was going to be a certain way because I'm doing this and I read every book and I fasted all the time and I said every prayer. I went to things, I read. So it's got to work. I'm just not believing enough. Well, first of all, when it's two people, both people have to be doing the same, believing the same, working on the same goal. Like LaNetta said, that vision has to be the same. And so, and he and I thank God, are friends to this day.
Amen.
But that was my turning point. Literally, that's when I realized I had to say, and here comes the mantra, yeah to me. Yeah. And that's where that came from. So just say yeah. It is a part of who I am. It's saying yeah to who I was called to be, who I'm meant to be. It's saying yeah to my passion, to my why. It's saying yeah to the vision that God has already put in me way before the foundations of the earth and already started revealing to me when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. Exactly. What I'm doing now, I already saw. Where I'm going, God's already shown me. So that was that turning point. That divorce broke my heart. It did, because I gave my all. And in me giving my all, I didn't speak up. Never. None of the time, really. But I gave of myself in a way that I didn't know who I was. Gotcha. So that was my turning point. That's how I learned to know I got to speak up. If I don't speak up for me, who will?
So I can see, like, even in the midst of that, if you losing something, being so broken during that divorce, you gained something at the same time. You gained that voice that allowed you to be the person, the woman that you are to this day. So that's actually a good thing.
Let me tell you, if we go back to that first video, it's like that cake. I'm baking, a cake's happening, and all those parts are just part of the ingredients. You guys are part of the ingredients to this bigger thing. You know, you mark my words. You guys have seen The View. Watch. You're going to see something else one day. Watch. Mark my words. But it's a bigger piece. So it's all those pieces. The word tells us that all things work together.
Yes.
All things. So that means the good, the bad, the ugly, the stuff we don't want to tell, but it all works together, to shape us and make us. Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm just glad we're all women who are now at a place that we speak up and we have that voice. You know, I'm glad Netta definitely has that voice. She speaks up. That you got that voice. You speak up, and we're actually comfortable in that now.
Yeah.
That's something that we have. You know, that we're able to do, and it is gonna bless our lives. And I think a lot of people need to hear that they can speak up, and it's possible, and it's
Absolutely.
necessary. Once again, it's necessary that you do speak up.
And I just
But
really.
you know,
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
but you know what too? A lot of people, they don't speak up because they're afraid to be alone.
That's real,
Because
Netta.
when you cross the line with someone
Yes.
and they don't agree with you, what's the first thing they say? Well, I'm cutting you off. Well, I don't want to deal with you.
Right.
We have nothing else to say to each other. And that individual is stuck with these feelings and
Yes.
emotions that's inside of them, that's tearing them up. Because why? They are afraid to be alone.
That's
But you are
right.
not alone. That is why God is here for you, the one who created you.
Come
He said, I
on,
will never
Netta.
leave you nor forsake you.
Come
So he
on,
won't leave
Netta.
you behind. Let them go.
Yes.
It's okay. It's a time when we have to detach ourselves from those things that do harm to us, that weigh us down, that slows us, that pull us back from what we're supposed to do, the purpose, the divine purpose at that. So
That's right.
it's all right.
Right.
It's all
That
right.
was so much true. That is
Speak
so
up.
true.
Speak
Make your
up.
weight lighter.
Well, you know, in line or in lieu of that, speaking up, I also on when we left the last segment, we put up on the screen, and we're going to do so again before the show is over, ways that during this time, during the times of protests, ways that you can speak up. It's there on the screen. Now, there are so many organizations that you can support. So many ways. There are many ways to speak
Absolutely.
up. And this is one way that everyone can participate. Some people may say, "Well, I'm not going to go down to the lines. I don't want to march, or I don't want to do this," or it's fine.
Right.
There are many ways you can. There are so many organizations. NAACP, connect with the Minnesota Freedom Fund, Black Youth Project, Color of Change. Oh, and the list goes on. You reach
Absolutely,
out
yes.
to these organizations. There's petitions you can sign. There's things that you can do, and that's you supporting. That's you speaking up.
That's right.
And we are in a time that we have to understand that we have to be and have the courage
Come on.
to stand tall,
That's right.
even if somebody doesn't agree, and speak up.
Absolutely.
That's the only way things will change. The only way. So thank you so much. We're going to get ready to go to another break. But before we do, I have a couple of, these are some questions I just want to leave you with you to think about. Once again, in here I have food for thought questions such as, are you
Those are
following
good.
the dreams of your path, your God-given path? Well, I'm going to give you some more food for thought. I would like everyone to take a moment and reflect on your childhood, high school days, and think about all of the times that racism was apparent, joked about, and a part of everyday life. Just think about it. I'm not asking you to say anything right now. I'm just wanting to build awareness that needs to be spoke up about. Just think about that. It's just a food for thought question. These are all areas, including myself, that I need to be better at. So I just want you to leave with that. One more question before we go on to our break. Have you ever thought about the fact that when we as a nation talk about how terrible it is that people are treated differently based on the color of their skin, recognize that this acknowledgement means people can be policed differently based on the color of their skin. So the two statements I just said, I'd like to, I executed my ability to speak up, and just want to leave you with things to think about and truly consider. Again, remember the different organizations. We'll put that up later that you can support. But we'll be right back.
All right.
Hello, everybody. If you're just tuning in, I am Yasmina of Just Say Yeah. Of course, I'm here to teach you about and to talk about what it means to love me, love life, live healthy. And I have two wonderful ladies with me today. I have LaNetta Whittle of a Whittle Love Daycare. And I have Shawuana Himes of Precision Line Dance. And these women, we have been talking about how to speak up. And we've been talking about just going forth and following your dreams and speaking up even when there's chatter in the background, and how to go forward anyway, anyhow, even with naysayers, even with doubters. One of the things I do want to, as we go forward, I want to remind everybody that we're still in a pandemic.
We are.
I want to say that because as you go out and about, it's most people aren't. I think they think we're done, but we're not. We literally have two horrific things happening right now, and both things need to be acknowledged, and both things need to stay at the forefront of our minds. We need to have safety as it relates to COVID, and as it relates to protests about what happened to Mr. Floyd. That is something that absolutely needs to be addressed, and something that absolutely we need to speak up about him, as well as there's so many others, which is why we're making a point to speak up about organizations that you can connect with. Everyone can make a difference. Everything we do matters, and everything we don't do matters.
Absolutely.
So I want to say to you that when it comes to this, we have to understand that education is important. And I know LaNetta spoke about that earlier, as well as Shawuana, about education. And when it comes to this situation, with what's happening with the protests and the reason why, we all need to make sure we're educated correctly. And that means not just hearing and believing everything we hear and believe and see, but truly digging, looking into these organizations, seeing what they stand for, and most importantly, seeing what you can do, seeing how you can help. So I want to talk about the power of the word no. Now, that's a word that LaNetta has known me the longest between the two of them. And I say this only because she knows I couldn't say no before. Okay. I couldn't say no. You ask me something, I'm gonna say okay, whatever you like. Yeah. So the power of no is huge to me. Matter of fact, the reason I'm able to just say yeah is because I had to say no to so many other things, and so many other people, and so many other plans, and so many other thoughts. So no is powerful. The power of no, LaNetta. Tell me what you think when you hear that.
Talk about it.
The power of no for my sanity. So I'm a type of person, I'm going. And like you said, when they need me, I'm there. Any event, birthday parties, church events, functions, anything that was going on, I was always there. But when I was able to sit myself down, like I talked about before, sit myself down, getting in line, putting out my goals, I knew I needed to cut things back. And I started saying no. So I said no for my sanity. I said no for my space. I said no for my self-care. And it was the best word that I've ever used in my life.
Come on. Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that you use no as part of your self-care.
Yes.
Because it really is. It starts there.
It does.
Absolutely.
That's that right there. That's epic. No. But it really is, because honestly, we don't realize that. It truly, it starts there. How can you even begin to go forth to do anything you want to do unless you say no to something? And self-care, that right, and it don't even cost you nothing. You know, people say they don't have money well, I can't get my nails done, which I need my nails done, but that's another story. Nails done and getting a massage and all of that stuff. Yes, that's self-care. Going on a vacation, yes, that's self-care. But first of all, say no. It's free. What about you in saying no? What the power of no? First of all, is that a power word to you?
Oh, is it? It's a very powerful word for me, because I must admit it. I was one of those people too. I'm just, in a sense, yes. yes person. I'm trying to make everything work. So for me, I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I can fit that in. I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll just figure out a way. Even though it would sacrifice me in other areas, I would say yes. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, wait a minute, this is not feeling too good because I'm missing out on this over here. I'm getting behind over this. I had to behind over here. I'm like, no, something has got to give. I'm like, girl, speak up. So we just talked about speaking up. Speak up and don't feel bad about it because that's the problem. I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna make them feel bad if I say no. They're wanting me to help them out and I want to help, but yet if I do help, then that's gonna put me behind over here and my other priorities. So I had to say no. I had to really speak up and find my voice and say no. And that was in so many different things as far as work, and a marriage, all that before I had to speak up and say no. And ultimately what it came down to for me was me knowing my worth.
Well,
that's what it came down to me knowing my worth and what I can do and what I couldn't do. And when I tell you, there was so much power behind that. And I'm doing so well because of it, because I learned how to say no.
I like that. Learning how to say no, not being a yes person.
Thank you.
LaNetta, I have a question.
Yes.
But what if I make somebody mad if I say no? Or what if they don't like if I say no, what do I do? What if I'm trying to explain it and they don't understand? What would you do? What would you suggest to me? I'm having a hard time learning how to say no because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. What would you tell that person?
I would say, I said what I said.
You know what?
No
yeah,
one
you
has
would.
a right.
Yes, you would.
I said what I said.
Yeah,
you know
you
the mama
would.
face. You go sit down. No one has the right to have their life bleed over into your life.
Well,
you have to put
I
that.
like that.
When you spill water on the table, you grab a napkin to stop it.
Yes.
No one, you have to stop them.
Well,
no one has a right to have their situation, their issues bleed over onto you.
Okay.
That's not your role.
That's
I
right.
can support you, love you from here, but when I need my space, if you say you love me like you say you do,
Well,
then you need to respect my boundaries.
Ooh,
have
I
your
like
boundaries up.
boundaries.
I didn't
like
say
that.
walls up. I said boundaries.
Boundaries.
So we're stopping it. So this is stop in sign language. I use this a lot in my daycare.
I love
Stop.
it.
This is no in sign language.
I love it.
No. So
I like that.
yeah. So walk around with a napkin in your purse. Somebody try to, well, you said no to me. Hold on, wait, I got one. Let me stop you.
Ooh, I
said
like
no.
that. I like that. That was very
Yes.
good. I like that a lot. That is so true. For spilling water. Now, it's the truth. We're going to grab something to try to stop that water from spilling
That's
over.
right.
I
Absolutely.
like that. That analogy was on point, and I loved this. So
Yes.
let me tell you, no, stop.
Yes.
So, I want to ask you, my dear,
Yes.
Shawuana of Precision Line Dance, saying no. What are some things you've had to? Okay, now this is okay. Here it goes. I'm just going to say it because it's kind of it's a touchy topic. It could be, but what if you're saying no to family? What if you're saying no to your biological family, blood family? And what if you have to say no to church family? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's go there.
I went there.
You
Come
know
on.
what?
What if you got to say no to them?
If you have to say no, that's saying something in and of itself that it's necessary for you to do so.
Right.
And in that moment, it may not be received the way that they want it to be. It may not be received, or they may feel offended by your no. But at that point in time, I understand for me, and like Netta said before too, our sanity, this has got to be done. And sometimes it will be family. Sometimes you mentioned church family. It could be the church to having to say no to certain things in the church to where, you may not be able to do that, but churches, it has to go on. So maybe that job or whatever that is that's going on can be allocated or done by somebody else. But if you're not speaking up and letting it be known, then what's going to happen in that case? Right. So for myself, it may, I don't know, we feel a certain kind of way because about, family, whether it's your biological family or your church family, we don't want to hurt family.
Right.
But we know at the same time, by us not doing what we need to, by saying no, essentially is going to hurt us.
Well.
So I think at that point, it's just we have to do it. And we do it out of love. Ultimately, that's what it is. We do it out of love. And God knows our heart. So everybody's not going to receive everything
That's
the
right.
way that we want them to, or the way that they should, or the way that they're expecting to. So we must keep that in our minds at all times, regardless. Everything's not going to be perfect. But I'm telling you, for your own sanity, for your own well-being, you're going to have to do what you got to do, essentially.
And that means exercising the power to say no.
No.
We have one more segment, so we're going to go
Yes.
to a break, and we're going to come back, and we'll see you in a minute.
Yes.
We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. Though I join hands so often with students and others behind jail bars singing it, we shall overcome. Sometimes we've had tears in our eyes when we joined together to sing it, but we still decided to sing it. We shall overcome. No, before this victory is won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory is won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome. Before the victory is won, even some will have to face physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death, then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome. Before the victory is won, some will be misunderstood and called bad names and dismissed as rabble-rousers and agitators, but we shall overcome. And I'll tell you why. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed to earth will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lowell is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future. And behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. We shall overcome because the Bible is right. You shall reap what you sow. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And with this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. And we will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the corner.
Hi, everybody. It's Yasmina of Just Say Yeah. Of course, you know that, but just in case you didn't, I'm here to show you the meaning of what it means to love me, love life, and live healthy. And I have LaNetta Whittle of a Whittle Love Daycare and Shawuana Himes of Precision Line Dance, who is also a mental health specialist with Fresno County. And we are here just bringing you our thoughts on the power of no,
Yes.
following your dreams, standing up for yourself. And with that being what we were talking about, we're going to go ahead and end this. We're almost finished with our show, and we just watched the speech, well, one of the many speeches from Dr. Martin Luther King, and just a little piece of it. And we shall overcome. We shall. How? By educating ourselves. How? By speaking up. How? By saying no to injustice.
Amen. Yeah.
How? By reaching out and supporting where we can, and I mean each and every one of us. We are all God's children, every skin color. I tell you right now, every one of us right now speaking, yes, this is a black thing. However, we love all people.
That's right.
Because
That's
you
right.
look at my family, look at their families, literally a rainbow.
Yes.
But this is a problem. I have a father who's black, a brother who's black, I got 7 brothers
You do.
that are black. I have many family members who are black. I have a grandson who is 7 years old, and he's going to grow up and he's going to be a black man. And the times that we live in concern me.
Yeah.
LaNetta and Shawuana have sons,
Yes.
sons,
Yes.
black sons. So is this topic, are we passionate about it? Yes, we are, because it's real. What are your thoughts, LaNetta, as we touch the subject? Because of course this topic we need a week to talk about it. So just in these few minutes that we have, what would you encourage people during this time?
I'm going to read this quote from Malcolm X. It says, I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it's for or against.
I like that.
Now,
like that.
when the story broke about Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
I was devastated because when I saw the actual video, I saw my son on the ground. I saw my husband on the ground. I saw my brother on the ground, my uncle on the ground, my male cousins and nephews on the ground.
Yes.
And what I try to tell people that is non-black, non-African American, now replace Mr. Floyd and then put your Hispanic brother there, put your Caucasian brother there, put your Asian, Filipino, whatever, put them on the ground. It was wrong.
Yes.
And when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not just, forgetting other lives. We're saying at this time, the Black lives are in danger.
Yes.
And during this time.
Yeah.
And yes, you matter. Everyone matters. But
That's
we
right.
need to matters. But we need to get this under control.
That's right.
Right now.
That's right. Thank you so much for sharing that
Thank you, Netta.
and those words that truly touch home in so many ways for so many of us. Shawuana, you have of course, black family members, black fathers, so on, but you have a black son as well.
I do.
So, your thoughts?
Whew, this really hit home for me, of course. My son is 16 years old, and he lives with his dad in Denver, Colorado. And him and I talk all the time. And so this was primarily, he's like, there's 6 black children at his high school. And everyone loves Lorenz. Everyone loves him. However, he said, Mom, I had to share with my friends what was going on. I had to tell them really how I felt. And they said thank you because they didn't really know how he was feeling as a young black man growing up in times like this.
Yes.
And so my heart went out like, wow, my baby is, he's not too outgoing in a sense where he talks a lot, but he said, Mom, I had to speak up. I had to say something so people would know how I felt speaking up. So during this time, this is all systemic racism and just all this stuff that's going on hurts my heart. Because like you said, we love all people. You don't have to be just black for me to say, oh, I love her only. No, I don't work that way. God created all of us. But what I can say is definitely a heart issue. We must look in our hearts. When people are just saying stuff, and just throwing stuff out there, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what's in your heart is what's coming out.
Yes.
So everybody needs to take a moment. Let's check our hearts.
That's right.
What's really in your heart? What's really in your heart? If you need to check yourself on some race, that's okay. God will fix all that, and he can.
That's right.
But I must say, in this times, we all need to just look inside ourselves, check our hearts, and if we don't know how to do that, ask God to help us with that.
And let me tell you, it's definitely a situation, education is so key and important.
Yes,
and
it is.
because wrong is wrong. Right is right. And so we need to make sure we're on the proper line of these things and that things can be done. Things must be done. Things are happening and we're moving forward slowly. But in order for that to continue, we need to do our part.
Absolutely.
We as a nation need to do our part. There's the parable in the Bible about the lost sheep, and there's 100 sheep. This parable says, and of course the sheep herder loves, and we know this is God, but he loves everybody, all 100, all of them, all the races. But this one happens to stray off. So he leaves the 99 and goes after that one because the one was lost, was hurting.
Yes.
Now, did that mean the 99 didn't matter? No, they mattered very much so. But right now, that one was hurting.
That's right.
And so we have to remember that one is hurting. And so we have to understand how this affects all of us. Some of us more than others. Because, just because of the apparent reason, the color of our skin.
Right.
But it does affect all of us. So we can do our part before we leave. I'm going to put up, again, well, really, I'm not. Michael is, but he's going to put up on the screen the organizations that you can support, the organizations that you can call and sign petitions. And like I said, everybody can do their part.
Yes.
And another thing, if you are over 18 years of age,
Come
let
on,
me tell
most
you
important.
this.
Let's go.
November 3rd,
November 3rd.
Right.
Come on.
Tuesday,
Come
the
on.
first Tuesday
Yes.
in November.
That's right.
Everybody can get on up, put on your clothes, and march
Yes.
down to vote.
Let's go vote.
Yep.
Vote.
Make sure you
Do you
vote.
know how many people fought so that we could have the right to vote?
Come on.
Exercise
Absolutely.
that freedom. I just want to thank you, Shawuana. I want to thank you, LaNetta, for coming on with me today and just sharing your thoughts and giving these tips and your wisdom. And then your experiences, your stories. I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
I
you.
just thank each and every one of you for tuning in again and hearing what we have to say. We really do love you. We really are here just to share, to be transparent, because
Absolutely.
it is important that you go and grow. It is important that you live a happier, healthier life in your spirit, in your soul, in your body, that you can say, I love me, love life, live healthy. It's very important that you continue to go forth, that you learn, that you use your words. Remember, the power of life and death is in your tongue. So it's important that you learn to speak life. It's either life or curses. Speak life over yourself. Frame your world with your voice. Find out what God says about you and move in that direction. And guess what? You'll be able to say, just say yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you
wonderful
all.
day.
Bye.